So there are many different parallels between the book of Joshua and the 5 books of Moses. And here we are going to be looking at an episode involving sending spies into an unknown land to gather information. Joshua 2:1, Joshua son of Nun sent 2 men secretly from Shittim as scouts, saying, "Go, view the land, especially Jericho." And they went and came to the house of a harlot named Rahab and lodged there. So Joshua is sending spies out into the land to gather information. This is something that he himself did many years ago. He was one of the original spies. So it's been 40 years since he has been to the promised land, and it's time to get some new information. So here he is sending out 2 spies. Perhaps he sent out more to other locations, but the ones that we are looking at today are the 2 that have been sent to Jericho. Jericho is one of the oldest cities in the world. So the city of Jericho is located in modern-day Palestine, and it is just across the Jordan River. So it's probably not terribly far from where they are currently dwelling. So the 2 spies, they found their way to Jericho, and they made their way inside the city, and they found themselves inside the house of Rahab, who was a harlot or a prostitute, and they were lodging in her house. Book of Joshua 2:2. It was told the king of Jericho, "Behold, there came men in here tonight of the Israelites to search out the country." So a lot of the countries in those days and in that area were not necessarily large empires of tremendous size and scale. Many of them were city empires or city-states. So we have the leader here of the city, who is the king of the city, you could say, finding out that there's some gentlemen that have come into the city that have come from the people of Israel. And not only that they are descendants of Israel, but they came to spy out this city. This is something that would be very alarming to the king, as we'll see. Book of Joshua 2:3. And the king of Jericho sent to Rahab, saying, "Bring forth the men who have come to you, who entered your house, for they have come to search out the land." So the king hears the rumor of these men being there, and now he is trying to seek them out to find out what exactly is going on. Why are they spying out the land? For what purpose are they there? And he heard that they were with Rahab, so he sends some men over there to try to find these men and relays their purpose for trying to track them down, that they are spies. Book of Joshua 2:4. But the woman had taken the 2 men and hidden them. So she said, "Yes, 2 men came to me, but I did not know from where they had come." Rahab, the prostitute here, is very shrewd in her negotiation with the king's men. She reveals that yes, she did interact with them, so the rumors of her knowing them are true. But she denies any knowledge in knowing who they are and what their purpose was. So this is lying by omission, but it was necessary to protect these men so that they would not be killed or tortured by the king's men. Book of Joshua 2:5. And at gate closing time, after dark, the men went out. Where they went, I do not know. Pursue them quickly, for you will overtake them. Previously she was lying by omission, but now it is more direct. And in many ways she is making herself vulnerable. This lie here, if she gets caught in it, they're probably going to be very severe with her. So she is taking a risk by protecting these individuals. and she is misleading the guards here that these spies have left the city already and that they should just chase after them and they will be able to subjugate and capture them. Book of Joshua 2:6. But she had brought them up to the roof and hidden them under the stalk of flax, which she had laid in order there. So she took the men to the roof of her house and hid them there amongst the flax. So this would be some sort of grain product. Perhaps they're bundles of grain, and she set them on top of them, and they would be hidden and concealed that way. So that way they could stay there till night arises and vision is significantly lower and they would be less visible. Book of Joshua 2:7. So the men pursued them to the Jordan as far as the fords. As soon as the pursuers had gone, the city gate was shut. So the men here, they have been sent on a wild goose chase, and they are attempting to pursue the spies. So they leave the city. But there is still a possibility that they are within the city, so they lock the gate. And perhaps there's guards that are watching the gate to make sure nobody comes in or leaves the city to try to entrap them so that they can catch them. Book of Joshua 2:8. Before the two men had lain down, Rahab came up to them on the roof. 2:9. And she said to the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. So Rahab has heard the rumors and heard the stories of the people of Israel. I assume that she would be very well connected to different social circles and perhaps has more outside knowledge than others that dwell within the city. Book of Joshua 2:10. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the two kings of the Amorites who were on the east side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. 2:11. When we heard it, our hearts melted, neither did spirit or courage remain any more in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and on earth beneath. So Israel has left Egypt a very long time ago, and they crossed the Red Sea a very long time ago because it happened before the wilderness wandering. So perhaps rumors of that event have spread throughout that section of the world, and that's how they know about it in Jericho. But these military victories that they had over these different kings, that is a much more recent event. So something that they probably just gained the news of or have heard about it in recent history. And the size of the Israelites in relation to their enemies really demonstrated the strength of the Lord. They were battles that they shouldn't have won, and they won with decisive victories and utterly destroyed their enemies. So it's understandable how the nations around them and the people that heard these stories would be fearful of the Israelites, and not necessarily the Israelites, but the Lord who leads them. And because she has heard these rumors and heard these stories and knows of these things, she figures it's in her best interest to side with the Israelites and to side with these spies than with her own king. Book of Joshua 2:12. Now then, I pray you, swear to me by the Lord, since I have shown you kindness that you also will show kindness to my father's house, and give me a sure sign. 2:13 And save alive my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all they have, and deliver us from death. So she wants to negotiate. She wants a guarantee that she will be protected and that her family will be protected. That when the Israelites come to destroy Jericho, that they will not be destroyed with them, that they will survive and they will continue on. Book of Joshua 2:14 And the men said to her, Our lives for yours. If you do not tell this business of ours, then when the Lord gives us the land, we will deal kindly and faithfully with you. So the men here, they have made a proclamation that because she has saved their lives, they are going to help her and save hers. The book of Joshua 2:15 Then she let them down by a rope through the window, for her house was built into the town wall, so that she dwelt in the wall. 2:16 And she said to them, Get to the mountain, lest the pursuers meet you. Hide yourselves there 3 days until the pursuers have returned, and afterward you may go your way. So Rahab, she lives on the outskirts of the city, or towards the edge of the city. Her house is right along the outer wall. There's a wall going around the perimeter of the city, and it may have a couple gates that are locked and closed. But because she's right on the edge of the city, right on the wall, she's able to let these men out on the opposite side of the wall so that they are outside of the city. And then she provides them with direction of where to go and what to do to maximize their chances of safety. The book of Joshua 2:17 The men said to her, We will be blameless of this oath you have made us swear. The responsibility is now yours. So they have agreed to the terms of her deal, but now the shoe is going on the other side. It is up to her. She must not tell anyone. She must conceal the information about these spies. For if she were to violate the deal that she has made with them, well, then they do not have to protect her anymore, that they could simply besiege the entire city. The book of Joshua 2:18 Behold, when we come into the land, you shall bind this scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down, and you shall bring your father and mother, your brothers, and all your father's household into your house. So in order to fulfill their part of the deal, to protect her during the attack, they need a way to mark her house, to mark her location, so that they do not accidentally destroy her. So they need a sign. So the sign that we are going to see is this scarlet cord hanging from the window. Scarlet, of course, is a reddish color. And of course, we got our biblical symbology. Scarlet is basically a type of red, which would symbolize the blood of Jesus, the sacrifice, the blood of the Lamb, the atonement, the salvation. That through her faith in hearing these stories of the Lord, she believed in the Lord, and she is trusting in the Lord. And we have this red cord here, this symbol of the atonement, or the salvation, that through it she will not be destroyed. The book of Joshua 2:19 And if anyone goes out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood shall be upon his head, and we will be guiltless. But if a hand is laid upon anyone who is with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head. So they are going to do what they can to protect her and her house. But if the people leave the house, well, then they are going to be victims to the siege or the attack. This is similar to what we saw previously in the event that took place during the Passover, that the blood was placed on the door, and those that were inside were safe. But if they left the house, they would be victims to the Passover event. Actually, there's a lot of similarity between these events the more I think about it. It's quite interesting. I guess the Bible's consistent. The book of Joshua. 2:20. But if you tell this business of ours, we shall be guiltless of your oath, which you made us swear. 2:21. And she said, according to your words, so it is. Then she sent them away, and they departed, and she bound the scarlet cord in the window. So if she breaks her portion of the deal, all bets are off. But she agrees to it, and she takes this scarlet cord and places it in the window so that the sign is there and the sign is ready so that they will be protected from the upcoming attack. The book of Joshua. 2:22. They left and went to the mountain and stayed there 3 days until the pursuers returned, who had searched all along the way without finding them. So they followed her instructions. They left, they went into the mountains and hid for a few days before returning back to the camp. Book of Joshua. 2:23. So the two men descended from the mountain, passed over the Jordan, and came to Joshua, son of Nun, and told him all that had befallen them. 2:24. They said to Joshua, truly the Lord has given all the land into our hands, for all the inhabitants of the country are faint because of us. So the spies have returned back to base, and they are communicating to their commander the events that transpired. And look at the report that they are bringing. This is far better than what we saw previously on the journey that Joshua himself went on 40 years ago. And they tell stories of how the people are afraid and that they are weak and that they will be given over to them by the hand of the Lord. And we've reached the end of the chapter, so we'll have to wait till later to see what will happen to Rahab and her family.